Most men think younger women avoid older men because of wrinkles or age. Wrong. That's not the real reason. It's not about your birthday. It's about your energy. It's not about your money. It's about how you carry yourself. You see, some older men attract younger women like a magnet, while others get avoided, ignored, or pushed straight into the friend zone. And it has nothing to do with being rich, tall, or even good-looking. It's about the hidden signals you give off every time you talk, move, or act. Signals that can either spark her desire or kill it instantly. In this video, I'll reveal the real reasons younger women avoid dating older men and how to make sure you're not one of them. Most men assume younger women avoid dating older men because of superficial things like age or wrinkles. But the truth is deeper and far more psychological. Attraction isn't just about looks. It's about energy, presence, and how you carry yourself. Some older men unintentionally project signals that turn women away without even realizing it. Younger women pick up on these signals instantly, even if they don't say it out loud. It's not always about money, style, or success. It's about how those traits are expressed. The problem? Many men confuse maturity with being boring, stability with being controlling, and wisdom with being arrogant. Younger women want to feel alive, not lectured. They want someone who adds spark to their world, not someone who makes them feel trapped in his. The real reason they pull back isn't always age. It's when age comes packaged with behaviors that kill attraction. And once you understand what those behaviors are, you'll see why she either avoids you or becomes drawn to you like a magnet. 1. The energy gap. Why your vibe matters more than your age. Here's the hard truth most older men don't want to hear. Younger women aren't running away because of a few gray hairs or some wrinkles. They're running away because of the energy gap. Attraction is emotional before it's logical, and energy is what fuels that emotional spark. If you walk into a room and your vibe screams tired, drained, and weighed down by life, she's going to feel it instantly. Younger women are drawn to men who radiate a sense of life force, men who feel like they're still hungry for experiences, not just comfortable with routine. And if your energy feels like it belongs to someone who's already given up on adventure, she'll quietly categorize you as safe but boring. Think about it. Why do some older men still get chased like rock stars while others get politely friend-zoned? It's not money. It's not status. It's not even physical looks. It's the vibe. An older man who stays curious, playful, and passionate about his life will naturally give off a contagious energy. He might be in his 40s or 50s, but when he talks about his projects, his passions, or his next plans, she feels pulled into his world. Compare that to the guy who's constantly talking about how things were better back in the day, or who treats every night out like a chore. That man radiates stagnation, not attraction. Younger women want to feel excitement, not exhaustion. If she senses that being with you means trading her vibrant energy for your comfort zone, she'll lose interest fast. Energy is magnetic. It either pulls her closer or pushes her away. And here's the kicker. It has nothing to do with physical age. Some men in their late 20s already feel like old men, dragging through life without passion. Meanwhile, some men in their 50s are still sharp, active, and alive, carrying an energy that makes younger women curious and drawn in. So here's what most older men miss. You don't need to act younger to close that energy gap. You don't need to fake being someone you're not. What you need is to stay engaged with life. Take care of your body, pursue goals that light you up, stay socially connected, and never lose your curiosity. When you radiate vitality, she doesn't see the years you've lived. She feels the fire you still carry. And that fire is what separates the older men. Women avoid from the older men. Women can't resist. 2. The father figure trap. When guidance turns into control. One of the biggest hidden reasons younger women avoid older men is because, without realizing it, Many older men slip into the father figure trap. What does that mean? It's when you stop being a romantic partner and start unconsciously acting like her parent. Instead of creating a dynamic of passion and attraction, you slide into teaching, guiding, correcting, or even controlling. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who feels like he's monitoring her instead of partnering with her. At first, she might even like the maturity and guidance you bring. After all, younger women often admire older men for their life experience. But admiration is not the same as desire. The second your wisdom starts sounding like lectures, or your confidence turns into condescension, she'll feel the attraction evaporate. Remember, she doesn't want a second father. She wants a man who can lead without making her feel small. When you constantly give advice she never asked for, or you judge her lifestyle choices, what she hears isn't, "I care about you." It's, "I don't see you as capable." And when she feels belittled, her attraction shuts off like a switch. The father figure trap often shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you tell her what she should be doing with her career. Maybe you comment on how her friends are immature. Maybe you criticize the music she likes or the clothes she wears. You might think you're helping, but what she feels is control. Younger women don't avoid older men because of the age gap. They avoid them when the age gap turns into a power gap. If she feels you're towering over her instead of walking beside her, she won't see you as her lover. She'll see you as someone who's trying to reshape her. And that makes her want to run. Here's the paradox. The more you try to control her, the less control you actually have. Real attraction isn't built on rules or lectures. It's built on freedom. When a younger woman feels that you respect her individuality, when she feels you're secure enough to let her be herself without judgment, that's when she trusts you. And trust creates space for real desire. If you want her to see you as a man she can be excited about, not as a father she needs to rebel against, drop the urge to guide her every move. Lead with your presence, not your rules. Inspire by example, not by control. When you do that, the father figure trap disappears, and suddenly she sees you not as an authority figure, but as the man she chooses to desire. 3. The comfort zone curse. When stability becomes stagnation. One of the silent killers of attraction between younger women and older men is what I call the comfort zone curse. Many older men pride themselves on being stable, reliable, and consistent. And yes, those are qualities women absolutely value. But here's the problem. When stability slips into predictability, when reliability hardens into routine, what once looked attractive now feels like a cage. Younger women often crave adventure, spontaneity, and experiences that make them feel alive. If being with you feels like stepping into an endless cycle of dinner at the same restaurant, watching TV in the same chair, and living life on autopilot, she'll start to associate you with boredom instead of excitement. This doesn't mean she expects you to act like a 22-year-old, partying until sunrise or chasing thrills every weekend. What she wants is the spark of life, the sense that being with you means her world expands, not shrinks. Too many older men confuse security with stillness. They stop exploring, stop trying new things, stop injecting fun into their daily lives. And because of that, younger women quickly feel that dating them equals trading passion for predictability. It's not that she doesn't appreciate the safety you provide. It's that she doesn't want safety without excitement. Think about it this way. Comfort zones are where attraction goes to die. If she feels like every date with you is already scripted, she'll start pulling away. If she knows exactly what your Friday nights look like every week, she'll get restless. Younger women aren't afraid of stability. They're afraid of stagnation. The difference is huge. Stability is knowing you've got her back no matter what. Stagnation is making her feel like her life with you will never change, never grow, never inspire. And here's the kicker. Many older men think buying gifts or spending money will compensate for that lack of spark. But no material thing can replace emotional excitement. You can't buy passion. You create it by being unpredictable in the right ways, planning a spontaneous trip, surprising her with something thoughtful, or simply breaking the routine and showing her you're still alive and adventurous. That's what keeps her intrigued. That's what makes her feel she's not just dating a man, but living a story. So, if you want to avoid the comfort zone curse, stop relying on routine to define your relationship. Use your maturity as fuel to create meaningful, exciting moments, not as an excuse to settle into monotony. Show her that while you may be older, your spirit is still adventurous, your curiosity still sharp, and your ability to make life fun still alive. That's when stability becomes sexy, and that's when she'll choose to stay. 4. The ego problem. When confidence turns into arrogance. Here's something that quietly destroys attraction faster than age ever could. Unchecked ego. Many older men, after years of building careers, wealth, or status, carry themselves with a certain confidence, which is great. Confidence is magnetic. But when that confidence tips into arrogance, it instantly flips from attractive to repulsive. Younger women are hypersensitive to this shift because they don't just want a man who's secure. They want a man who makes them feel secure around him. The moment your ego takes center stage, she stops seeing you as a man she desires and starts seeing you as a man she needs to avoid. Ego usually shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you dominate every conversation, making her feel like her thoughts don't matter. Maybe you constantly remind her of your achievements, as if she needs to be impressed to stay. Maybe you downplay her accomplishments because you secretly feel threatened by her youth, beauty, or ambition. To you, it may feel like harmless banter or casual confidence. But to her, it screams insecurity dressed up as arrogance. And younger women can sniff that out in seconds. The irony is, many older men use ego as a shield. Deep down, they worry about the age gap, so they overcompensate by trying to prove their worth through money, experience, or authority. But the more you try to prove yourself, the less attractive you become. Attraction doesn't come from proving. It comes from being. A truly confident man doesn't need to constantly remind a woman of his value. His energy, presence, and calm self-assurance already communicate it without words. Younger women want to feel seen, heard, and valued. If your ego makes every interaction about you, she won't feel any of those things. She'll feel invisible. And once a woman feels invisible, her desire dies instantly. On the flip side, when you bring humility into your confidence, when you can share your wisdom without preaching, talk about your success without bragging, and genuinely celebrate her wins as much as your own, she sees you as rare. She sees you as someone who's secure enough not to compete with her, but strong enough to stand beside her. So the real key here isn't to shrink your confidence, but to strip it of arrogance. Lead with curiosity instead of always needing to be right. Ask about her passions instead of making it a lecture about yours. Celebrate her perspective instead of dismissing it. That balance of strength and humility is what makes you magnetic, because in the end, it's not your ego that attracts her. It's your ability to make her feel valued while still standing tall in your own power. 5. The emotional disconnect, when wisdom blocks vulnerability. Here's another reason younger women quietly pull away from older men: the emotional disconnect. Many older men pride themselves on being logical, rational, and steady. They've lived through storms, so they think showing too much emotion makes them look weak. But here's the irony. What they believe is strength often comes across as coldness. And nothing makes a younger woman lose interest faster than feeling like she can't connect to you emotionally. Attraction isn't just about how you look, what you own, or how successful you are. It's about how you make her feel. If she feels like every conversation with you is a wall of logic, facts, and detached maturity, she'll feel more like your colleague than your lover. Younger women want a man who's strong, yes, but also a man who can open up, laugh freely, share his feelings, and be present in the moment without hiding behind a mask of wisdom. When you refuse to show vulnerability, she doesn't see strength. She sees distance, and distance kills intimacy. This disconnect shows up in subtle ways. Maybe when she's upset, instead of listening, you immediately try to fix her problem with advice. Maybe when she's playful, you respond with seriousness instead of joining in. Maybe when she tries to open up emotionally, you stay guarded, thinking that revealing your feelings makes you lose respect. To you, it feels like you're being composed and responsible. To her, it feels like she's emotionally alone, even when you're right beside her. Here's the truth. Wisdom is attractive, but wisdom without vulnerability feels sterile. Younger women are drawn to men who can balance both, who can guide with strength but also connect with heart. You don't have to cry on her shoulder every day or overshare your deepest fears, but letting her see your emotions, your excitement, your joy, your passion, even your occasional frustrations, makes you human. It makes her feel closer to you. And that closeness is what keeps desire alive. Think of it this way. Younger women are often surrounded by guys their age who are immature, flaky, and emotionally unstable. What they secretly crave is not just an older man's maturity, but his ability to create a safe emotional space. If you can combine your steadiness with genuine vulnerability, you become irresistible. She feels like she can trust you, laugh with you, lean on you, and truly connect. That's when she stops avoiding you and starts chasing you, because you're not just older, you're emotionally alive. 6. The outdated mindset. When you live in the past instead of the present. One of the fastest ways older men lose the interest of younger women is by living in the past. And I don't just mean telling the occasional nostalgic story, I'm talking about building your entire identity around the good old days. The subtle message you send when you constantly compare today to yesterday is that your best years are already behind you. And if she feels like you've got nothing left to look forward to, why would she want to build a future with you? Attraction thrives on growth, momentum, and forward motion. When you live in the past, you radiate stagnation instead of possibility. Younger women notice this mindset instantly. It shows up in the way you talk about music, technology, work, or even relationships. If you're always saying, "back in my day," or dismissing her world as silly or meaningless, she'll feel judged. And nobody wants to be with someone who makes them feel like their life, their choices, or their generation doesn't measure up. You think you're showing wisdom, but what she hears is bitterness. She doesn't see a man who's evolved. She sees a man who's stuck. The outdated mindset can also creep into how you approach dating itself. Maybe you believe women should behave a certain way because that's what you grew up with. Maybe you think chivalry means controlling the entire interaction instead of letting it flow naturally. Maybe you expect her to admire your maturity while ignoring her independence. These little beliefs reveal that you're not adjusting to the times. And younger women are hyper-aware of this. They don't want to date a man who feels like he's living in another era. They want someone who's grounded in reality, open-minded, and adaptable. Here's the truth. Age itself isn't unattractive. What's unattractive is when age turns into rigidity. A man who can't grow, can't adapt, can't embrace the world as it is today, he feels heavy. Meanwhile, the older man who stays curious, open, and adaptable, he's magnetic. Because curiosity makes you feel alive, and openness makes her feel safe. When you combine wisdom from your past with excitement for the present, she feels both security and adventure. That's the balance she craves. So, the fix is simple but powerful. Stop glorifying the past at the expense of the present. Share stories, yes, but also stay engaged in what's happening now. Learn new things. Stay updated. Be open to her world instead of mocking it. When she sees you're not just living on memories but building new ones, she won't see you as outdated. She'll see you as timeless. And timeless men never struggle with attraction, no matter their age. 7. The health neglect, when you stop taking care of yourself. One of the biggest reasons younger women quietly avoid older men is because of something that has nothing to do with age itself. It's about how you handle your age. Too many men let themselves go physically and mentally once they hit a certain stage in life. They stop working out, stop caring about how they dress, and stop fueling their bodies and minds the right way. Instead of radiating strength, vitality, and self-respect, they project laziness, neglect, and decline. And here's the raw truth. Women don't avoid you because you're older. They avoid you because you've given up on yourself. Younger women are drawn to energy, vitality, and presence. If your body language says you're tired, if your health choices scream, "I've checked out," she won't see you as desirable. She might respect you for your wisdom, but respect without desire equals friendship, not attraction. A man doesn't need a six-pack or to look like a fitness model, but he does need to show discipline. When she sees you take care of your body, dress with intention, and carry yourself with pride, she feels your energy. She sees that you respect yourself, and that makes her want to respect and desire you. The health neglect problem also ties directly into confidence. When you stop caring about your appearance or your stamina, you subconsciously carry shame. That shame leaks into how you talk, how you move, how you interact. You hesitate, you shrink, you avoid. And guess what? She picks up on it instantly. Attraction isn't just about muscles or looks. It's about the energy you radiate when you know you're taking care of yourself. When you look in the mirror and feel proud, you carry yourself differently. That difference is what she notices. And it's not just about physical health. Mental health matters too. If you've let stress, bitterness, or negativity dominate your outlook, it shows. A man who constantly complains, who's always exhausted, who sees life as a burden instead of an adventure, he pushes women away without realizing it. Younger women aren't expecting perfection. They're expecting presence. They're expecting a man who values himself enough to maintain his energy, appearance, and mindset. So here's the bottom line. You can't control the number of candles on your birthday cake, but you can control how alive you look and feel. Take care of your body. Invest in your mind. Sharpen your style. When you project health, strength, and vitality, the age gap doesn't matter. What matters is the life force she feels when she's with you. That's what makes an older man irresistible, and that's why neglecting your health is one of the fastest ways to kill her attraction. At the end of the day, it's not the candles on your cake that push younger women away. It's the choices you make that come with age. When you lose your energy, you lose your magnetism. When you slip into the father figure trap, you kill desire with control. When comfort turns into stagnation, she stops seeing you as exciting. When confidence mutates into arrogance, her respect evaporates. When you hide behind wisdom and refuse vulnerability, she feels disconnected. When you live in the past instead of the present, she feels trapped. And when you neglect your health, you stop radiating the vitality that makes her want to be around you. The truth is simple. Younger women don't avoid older men. They avoid older mindsets. They avoid men who've stopped growing, stopped caring, stopped living with spark. Age is never the problem. Decline is. If you stay alive, curious, healthy, confident, and emotionally open, you'll always have an aura that transcends numbers. Women aren't searching for youth. They're searching for men who make them feel alive. And if you embody that, You'll never have to wonder why she avoids you, because she'll be the one drawn to you, regardless of age.